I was recently asked by one of you how to write in such a way that it flows together. Readers are hooked on the material and they can't wait to turn the page because it's just so rich and interesting. And I'm going to teach you how. I, of course, am Joshua Lisec. This is Daily Persuasion. I am the New York Times bestselling author, co-author, ghostwriter of 97 nonfiction books, and a professional certified hypnotist. Through my unique experiences, I curate current events and teach you how to influence the VIPs of your life and your career. The comment pertained to Unhumans, the New York Times bestseller that I did with Jack Posobiec last year. If you have read that book and you've read chapters 12 and 13, particularly chapter 13, you see that the Trump administration appears to be, wink, wink, nod, nod, following chapter 13 like a playbook in just the first 2 months of the administration, as are all the effective influencers who understand how to win. The question is as follows. I'm going to read it. It's from Jack Flashman 3322. The question was, I'm reading Unhumans right now, and I'm really impressed on how well the book flows and moves the reader along sentence by sentence and paragraph by paragraph. Do you have any tips how to do that? So I asked for clarification and picked out two examples. From chapter 3, the separation stage processes alignment of blame and guilt. That is, the have-nots, have not, because the haves have. And the reason must be due to oppression. Oppressors oppress the oppressed. And then another example from chapter 4. We like civilization. We don't like anti-civilization. If you don't either, then you owe it to yourself to learn how to force stop the destruction of all that you hold dear. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And the 3 defeats of communism echo to us down through the millennia. I like how these sentences build each sequence of the last. Even though each sequence has multiple sentences, they read like it's one sentence, one idea. Are you using the way these sentences or sequences are structured as part of your pacing and leading? So I replied, and I'm going to explain what it means. Yes, I say as much as I can. It is not a repeat about the same point before moving on to the next thought. I say as much as I can. It is not a repeat about the same point before moving on to the next thought. This is called depth. I'm going to give you an example of the opposite. I was just suggest a video by Jordan Peterson about how to handle narcissists without irony and not as a joke. As you know, Jordan Peterson famously blocked me on social media after I requested, in response to him claiming that a certain Christian acts this way, a Christian believes this. I asked him if he was willing to offer us a confession of faith publicly, and he blocked me. This is what they do. So if you're writing about narcissism, let's say, you might say that this is anti-depth. This is writing that does not flow, which is what most writing is. It does not flow well. And it's shallow and broad. Shallow and broad versus narrow and deep, but sufficiently narrow and deep. Shallow and broad is, we all know somebody who is a narcissist. What do you do about narcissists? Well, you need to stop enabling them, and you need to take care of yourself. I'm going to stop there. What's missing besides everything? I didn't define what narcissism is. I didn't give you signs of a narcissist. I didn't give you an explanation on, here are 3 examples of narcissistic personalities and the 2 different types of narcissism. For example. I didn't say this is how you spot a narcissist who you're married to or is a family member versus a friend or colleague or worker versus just them being self-interested or them being a jerk. I didn't tell how narcissism is officially diagnosed. I didn't do any of that. I just said narcissism is not good. Let's talk about it, and you need to take care of yourself and stop enabling them. Let's talk about that. How do you stop? What is enabling a narcissist? What does that look like? In each of the examples I gave. How do you enable a narcissistic wife? How do you enable a narcissistic boss or employee? How would you enable a narcissistic friend or family member? What does that look like? And then how do you transition to not doing that without triggering them and setting them off so they attack you, go crazy, and destroy your life? How do you use glacier persuasion to put them in a non-empowered place where they can allow themselves to hit rock bottom and you be out of there? That's all that should be in there. And none of it was. That is most writing. Now do you understand? Most writing is shallow and broad. It's just topic, 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 topic. It uses a bunch of buzzwords without defining them, without giving examples, without going in depth of them, without chunking down, it's called, in hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming, NLP. It's chunking down to each of these bits and then chunking back up, next topic, chunk down. Chunk back up, next topic, chunk down. Chunk back up, chunk down. That is the correct way to write in flow. And you can do it now because you watched this video. So please share it with someone who's a really bad writer and could use this. And then they'll get to the end and watch this, laugh at you, say F you, and then share it with somebody else who also is a bad writer. And together we can save the world through this 1 6.5 minute video. I'm not kidding. This is real.